What are we doing today? Wow. We're just gonna play the game. We'll have 6 competitors. World, normal for 6 players. Custom, regular content, shape, climate, standard. I'm gonna go with 40% size and 3 continents. Well, no, 2 continents. I want to have 2 AIs on the same continent to make it a little bit interesting. No new world. Island standards. Hemispheres. Whatever. World generation seed. Continent spread regular. Continent form regular. Many lakes. Big lakes. Many rivers. Few ridges and cliffs. Standard elevation. Okay. We are okay. Switch to the Humankind difficulty. This is a version of the game that is more difficult than average. There are ways that I can set this game up even on the Humankind difficulty to make it easier. So for example, I could give everyone their own continent, or I could make the continents very large. We'll use this setup. So yeah, let's get going. There's a river there. We've got some ebony. That's really good. Okay, so what's the food gathering strategy? This is not confirmed, but sort of anecdotally, I think this is how the food generation works, right? So I think in rivers, in forests, you tend to get sort of +10 food, so sort of wild berries. On plains, you tend to get sort of +5 food. And then on rivers, you tend to get +15 food, and they call it freshwater harvest. But food won't spawn in your line of vision. So if you can see a tile, I don't think that a harvestable food will actually spawn. So our best option here is to walk towards this river that's also in the forest and see if there's any food on that particular river. Look at that. So there's food, and if I step onto this, it should be 15. Freshwater harvest. So that's very good. Next turn, we could step sort of towards here, or we could step sort of down here. But we'll see that next turn. Now we have some choices. So we're guaranteed not to have food on this tile, nor on any of these tiles. The closest that food could be is on one of these tiles, or maybe on this tile here. At best, I can step onto either of these 2 tiles, and one of those should have some food on it. And we did not find any food, but we will find food here next turn, and we'll get our second tribe unit. So that's pretty good. Let's step onto this to get our second unit. And then what we will do is we'll take this unit, step it out onto this tile, and then step it back up here. Because we don't have vision up here right now, I'm hoping that food has respawned up here somewhere. Doesn't look like it, but there could be some food over here next turn. Could have food over here. So I'm gonna continue stepping this guy around here to see if we find any more food on this river. So we happen not to, but that's okay. The other thing that we'll need to start doing is actually, probably once we have a second unit spawn out of here, is to start going towards some plains to look for curiosities. We're unlikely to find curiosities on the river tiles here. Right now we will continue to, so you can see this food here. I can get there in 1 turn, and I will do so. And that'll get me an additional unit. Now the problem that I have here, I could step these guys onto there, but I actually don't really want to. I would prefer to have this unit that has 5 food on here to actually harvest this particular food. So with this unit, I actually need to go find curiosities. Otherwise, I'm not going to have any outposts founded by the time that I want to advance an era. So I'll step towards here for now. And we will step sort of in this direction, because I think that we're more likely to find a curiosity outside of a river system, because on river systems we tend to get food spawns. So next turn we can step onto here, plus we'll get some additional vision, so we have some possibilities of finding food on one of these tiles. It's unlikely this will result in an additional unit, because this is probably going to be 5 food, I imagine, and so is this deer. Actually, this deer is a source of, what do you call it? But it's only a very small amount of influence. With this unit here, I think I would like to step towards this river system up here, because we haven't explored it yet. And in the process, I will uncover some of these tiles here as well, and see if there's any food on them. It looks like there is not. So we get some food on here, which will be really good for next turn. This event is a very good event, but what you have to keep in mind is that this tribe that just joined me, if we were to combine these, has disease on it. It's a really bad idea to combine these units together. Strongly recommend against that. We will go chase this deer because it means there is some sanctuary somewhere over here. So we have a deer here. I might decide to attack it, or I might not. Deer is on a river, but it's going to have an attack downhill. We find a curiosity over here, or we also find the enemy over here, which is always good to find the enemy. What I'm going to do with this unit is move it towards this curiosity so that we can found our first outpost soon. So with this unit, I'm going to slowly step over here, take this food. Yeah, it's only 5. And then I'll step here, because there's a possibility that we'll get food on one of these river tiles next turn. With this, we will step onto the river, and this has a sanctuary over here, plus it also has a curiosity. What we can actually do here is next turn we can collect this curiosity, and then the turn after we can go onto the sanctuary and burn it down. I should retreat away from these guys for now. It's good to know that they are down here, but I don't want to be attacked right now. That's why I'm gonna step this unit away from here and guide it towards this direction. And we actually get lucky here with a sanctuary. We're guaranteed a turn 7 exit into the ancient era because of this sanctuary, right? Like we can step onto here on turn 6, and on turn 7 this will turn into another unit, and then we'll have 5 units in total. And hopefully we even get a little bit more, maybe 6 or 7 units, so that these guys will be really easy to attack. So the other thing that we'll do with this is walk towards this discovery, and in the process, you know, we can't make it this turn, we can only make it next turn. We'll reveal a few tiles which will have some food opportunities here as well. Turn 6, you're just about guaranteed to get whatever culture you want. Turn 7, on occasion the AI will take a culture away, but we always can fall back onto this turn if they do take one of the cultures that we want. So I'm not going to pick this turn, because next turn we actually will get 1 additional unit here plus an additional unit over here. We might see if we can experiment over here to have the option of going, well, we can get one of those guys out, but yeah, we'll think about that in just a moment. Let's finish this movement here. Now, we didn't find any food on this river, but that's okay. We'll step onto it, and then next turn we can step up there. We still, despite this saying that we need to end the turn, we still have a move here. We could step this unit out, but the food would actually stay with the last unit that's in the army. So even stepping onto this turn won't work. But what we could do here is we can actually step this unit onto this tile in the hopes that next turn we manage to get food in a different way. But the chances of actually achieving anything are fairly low. Like, one of the options that we have here is to step onto here and sort of separate these in the hopes that this unit can sort of step down along this river and find some food here next turn, and then this can find some food somewhere over here next turn as well. So if I step this unit onto this food here next turn, I can actually step them onto that food, so I'm guaranteed to actually get that additional unit next turn. So then we have a chance to use this last unit here to sort of step in this direction and hope that we find food to get an additional unit. So we will do that. step onto here. Because, oh, look at this. But the only problem here is that this is going to be 5 food. So that's not going to be enough to actually get this. This still has 1 movement point left. So next turn we can step onto this. So we will step towards it. And then we have an option here. It's not worth it to go for this food, but we have sort of 3 tiles that we could chance here to get something. Or maybe there's an animal somewhere here. The chances of actually diseventuating into something is fairly low. Our first concentration needs to be on attacking these guys. So we'll need to send all of our troops over there. But we do also need to come as sort of one army. So that's why I'm going to step slightly inefficiently onto this river tile, so that I can unify all of these troops together and go after this in one strike force of 6 scout units. And then this, we will step back onto here. We need a decent amount of production. This 13-6 will be quite good because it's next to lots of river tiles. So the water mill, the flood irrigation and so on is going to be really good. It is going to take us 2 turns to get there, but it's going to be worth it. The only other thing that would be good to know right now is where our 3rd enemy is. Likely over here somewhere, but we will need to go after them soon as well. We'll also make our choice here. We can discuss some of these. So what we need to do right now is we need to get an immediate advantage over the AI and start to grow economy, to start growing. The main way that we will get most of our yields is through population in the early game, because we just can't afford, even if we choose the Egyptians, we can't really afford to build that many quarters, and it's going to be really expensive to get extra territories and so on. But with population, it'll actually be reasonably straightforward to get. Plus, population also gets you influence. That's why in the early game, an agrarian focused culture is really good. Egyptians are nice. They will give you a decent amount of industry. Babylonians are okay as well, especially because they also benefit a little bit from food here. Assyrians can be good, but getting lots of these Assyrian raiders is expensive, plus they cost upkeep, so you can only have so many of them, and you need horses, so a little bit situational. The Zhao are good, but at this point you really need to attack an enemy AI to get your early game advantage, and the Zhao don't enable that. This chariot is sort of late and expensive. Phoenicians are okay, but money is weak in this game until sort of the mid game. This is a nice sort of mix of influence plus food, but I think the Harappans are generally a little bit better. Nubians are sort of a nice mix of industry and money, but yeah, money isn't that strong. We can get a lot more money through population compared to what they will get. Mycenaeans, this unit has a very high maintenance cost, and it takes you a little while to actually be able to get these because you have science prerequisites and so on, so that's why I usually don't choose these. And the Hittites, this +1 combat strength is actually pretty good, but then a special unit is a chariot, which is quite hard to get because it requires a couple of strategic resources, it's expensive to build, comes late. That's why we're going to choose the Harappans. And we need to do this on turn 7, otherwise we're not going to be able to make those choices. What we need to do right now is get this unit to put down its outpost and evolve this into a city. Now, it's going to take me 5 turns to actually do that. The other thing that we need to do here is combine these units into one strike force. Probably rally them somewhere around here. Get this unit into this army, and then I will want to get this unit into this army as well. Now, it's unfortunate that there's a river right here, but we should be able to maybe combine on this tile next turn, and then I need to get this army moving down here as well as a sort of support force. Would be nice to coincidentally find our other neighbor, but we might not. This unit can step to here right now. This can step onto here as well to combine. These guys haven't gone to the next area yet. They haven't evolved this city into an outpost. The only problem that we have here is that they actually have this outpost for a while, so they might grow some population, which makes these things harder to attack. This guy down onto this tile here. Now it's a fine balance between, I need to be able to attack this city probably on the first turn that it turns into a city, but that needs to happen reasonably soon so that there's at most one population onto here. It'll be really hard to get this city killed if it has a lot of population, maybe 2 or 3 population in it, then it's basically impossible to go for it. With this, we need to go burn down this sanctuary because we don't want these independent people to spawn. But yeah, we're setting ourselves up here for an attack within 3 turns. Next turn, we'll be able to step onto this tile with this stack and then attack as soon as we want. And we'll actually position ourselves here, even if the city doesn't exist yet, and then try to position ourselves up here because it's uphill and we'll have a really good attack, or we'll have a good deployment zone up here. So we're going to step onto this, but I'm gonna step one at a time because I don't know, we have their units right here and I'm gonna get stuck in their zone of control. I don't necessarily want to attack them, although I might. I'll step here, see if they react in any way, and then I might just attack here to get them to step away because they should retreat. With this group, I actually need to be a little bit careful because it's exposed to these guys. I don't want to fight right here. Maybe step it here for now so that they don't know this unit is here. We'll come back and just occupy this tile. So I'll be okay here. I can actually step these guys to here, and then I can attack next turn if they do choose to go to the next era. And I'm not going to choose to attack here right now because I will actually have to fight, and I don't want the fight. They have really bad river tiles here, so I'll have a really good advantage if I attack here. Probably will choose to do so. This is a fine deployment, although I would prefer to have this unit on this tile because it's a river tile. I'm gonna step this unit forward, then I'll step this unit. Need to know where they are. I don't want to step on this tile because they might be on this tile, so I'm gonna step here. Now I will step onto here to force them to lose. I don't want to step here. This is a bad attack for me, and I don't actually have a good attack, but they are forced to actually come onto here. Next turn, I may well step onto this tile and hope that they step onto here. And I'm gonna leave these guys here. I don't want to step here because they would actually be pretty vulnerable. So I'll see what they end up doing here. Yeah, I expected that to happen. So I'm gonna step here and hope that they actually are incentivized to step onto this tile so that I can attack them, surround them, and attack them from a really advantageous position, but otherwise I'm not going to step forward. Right now, I'm winning this fight because I have this flag converted, so I'm going to hope that they step onto that tile, which they end up doing. So now I can move this unit here, and I have a rear attack downhill, which is devastating to them. And this is also going to be a pretty devastating attack, although I can't actually execute it. And now I can also do this attack, which kills that unit. So that clears that one unit, and I still have this unit that can hold these guys in if necessary. I don't want to attack right now because I would actually not have a very good deployment zone, but it's always good to keep this guy back. We'll leave these guys there. 2 more turns until this can convert. So you just sort of defend there. There's still a tribe. Still don't have population on here, which is good. I'm also distracting them a lot right now. I'm gonna step here and then step onto this river tile, because as soon as they turn this into a city, it'll be a really easy attack for me, and this is the best tile to attack from. The question really is, how long will they take to turn this into a city? And this unit will stay over here just to protect. And in the next turn we can turn this into a city as well, so that'll be a really good start. We can evolve this into a city, we can build our pottery workshop. They still haven't evolved this. I'm actually going to do a little bit of exploration with these units down here just to make sure to see if they have claimed any other territory, which it doesn't look like they have because this looks like the coast. So this looks like the extremities of this continent. So they're very nicely boxed in right here. Again, I suspect that our other enemy is over here somewhere, and they may well be quite advanced compared to us. These guys are usually a little bit slower, the orange guys. We'll be in this precarious situation for a little while here, but we'll get a free city from them, and we know that there's an additional unit somewhere in the fog of war here, which might be good to chase down, but skip our turn here. And we're going to go for the harvest here. We also need to go to an expert policy and prioritize science, and then production, and then money. Food is easy to come by for us because we have like a huge amount of food on here, plus we're researching the harvest. Now we do need to actually get more influence here, and the question will be which tile we want to go for. And this salt helps with food on cities, plus there is a horses on here, so I'll want to actually go after this territory here next turn. It's going to cost me 61 influence though, so it's going to be really expensive. I want to explore this territory and see what this territory is all about. I need to be careful with this unit because it's vulnerable to bears, it's vulnerable to the other AI player. So they founded an outpost right here. So there's a population here as well. They should actually be able to advance to the next era soon. I need to bring this unit back closer to this tile here so that I can actually go after this city very quickly as well. I can get this from this position. I can get either one of these, depending on which one they choose as their first city. So I'll bring this unit back onto this tile here in case they do anything with this particular tile here. And then I just really need to see them advancing to the next era so that I can take some of these cities away from them. It's actually good that we have 2 salt in this one territory. So we can pick a policy here, which we will do. This is a good policy to pick, but you know, we'll do that in a couple of turns.